Namaste, everybody, and welcome to today's program on becoming an Ayurvedic health counselor. I'm very happy to be able to share some time with all of you as you learn about this program. This is a very exciting time in the history of Ayurveda. Ayurveda has spread now all around the world, and this is very different than it was 10 years ago or 20 years ago. The popularity of Ayurveda is growing tremendously. And I'd like to, as we're beginning, I would like to ask you if you have questions, go ahead and type those in, and we'll be happy to answer those questions at the end of the program today. So you type them in, and my assistant, Jeanette, will be recording your questions, and at the very end, there'll be a Q&A. Ayurveda is growing worldwide because it is so important to the health and well-being of humanity. Perhaps more than ever, we are a society, a community that is more out of balance, that is living more out of harmony with nature. And the consequence of that is that we have more chronic disease than ever before. There's always been acute disease. Everybody has gotten sick since the beginning of time, but this is a really unique period of time where so many people are operating at less than 100%, less than even 80% or 70%. It seems that almost everybody today has some form of a chronic disease, whether it's arthritis or whether it's allergies or whether it's asthma. There seem to be so many people who are suffering today. And Ayurveda comes with the promise of well-being, the promise of achieving optimal health. And really, we can simplify the principle of Ayurveda this way. We can say that where there is harmony, there is health. And where there is disharmony, there is disease. And so the science of Ayurveda is the science of helping individuals, first and foremost, learn how to create harmony with their environment, and then to reap the fruit of those actions that are going to result in health and well-being. And I think it's for this reason that Ayurveda has been growing worldwide, and that Ayurveda has been growing in respect, even among the traditional Western medical community, because Ayurveda complements the acute medicine of our Western partners. Ayurveda really complements all traditions, because so much of Ayurveda is unique in its focus on health and well-being. It's unique in its focus on our lifestyle. If we're living a lifestyle of balance and harmony, then indeed we will experience the great benefits of that. When you're out of harmony, your body's immune system gets suppressed. And a suppressed immune system is unable to fight off bacteria and viruses and is more susceptible to irritation from the environment. But when you live in harmony, your immune system is optimized, and you're more capable of managing the stresses of life as they present to you. So we need more practitioners of Ayurveda. We need more practitioners of all kinds. We need more Ayurvedic health counselors. We need more clinical Ayurvedic specialists, and we need more Ayurvedic doctors. This is a time where Ayurveda this is a time to get involved in Ayurveda, where Ayurveda is blossoming, where it's growing, and where there's a great need. And I think that's why schools all across the country are seeing an increase in enrollments. Again, what could be more important than an individual's health and well-being, or the health and well-being of a community or of society? So what does an Ayurvedic health counselor do? Well, an Ayurvedic health counselor, first of all, is I would call it the basic certification of an Ayurvedic practitioner, of any kind of Ayurvedic practitioner, whether you're a counselor, a clinical specialist, or a doctor. The foundational training is to become a counselor first and foremost. So an Ayurvedic health counselor works one-to-one with individuals in their community and provides them with counsel, with guidance, with education on how to create harmony in their lives. That's really the role of the Ayurvedic health counselor. The Ayurvedic health counselor is an expert at supporting individuals to live the principles of Ayurveda. Now, that's really important, It's not just telling people what to do, it's supporting them to be successful doing it. And that's where counseling really comes in. That's where the art of being an Ayurvedic counselor lies. It is in supporting someone to be able to implement the principles and the practices of Ayurveda into their life so that from the moment they wake up until the moment they go to bed, they're living more harmoniously. And when that happens, there's a great transformation in the health of that individual. Even deeper, there's a transformation in the consciousness of that individual. Because really how we live our life is a reflection of our consciousness. And so an Ayurvedic health counselor understands the individual physically, emotionally, and we could say at the level of consciousness, or we could say spiritually. And from that understanding is able to support an individual to transform their life and to transform their health and their well-being. And that's really what an Ayurvedic health counselor does. In order to do that well, an Ayurvedic health counselor has to be well trained. They have to know all about Ayurveda. An Ayurvedic health counselor has to know the science of Ayurveda, has to know the history of Ayurveda, has to know the philosophy of Ayurveda. And so when you get trained as an Ayurvedic health practitioner, you're going to have a very extensive training. It begins with 600 hours of academic study and then continues with 600 more hours of clinical internship. And it's the combination of academic study and clinical internship that leads you to become an excellent Ayurvedic health counselor. Now, it's not really just about the hours. Our program to become a counselor is 1,200 hours. But really, that's a meaningless point to most people. What's far more important than quantity is quality of your education. And here at the California College of Ayurveda, for the last 23 years, we've been refining the education that we deliver to our students so that we believe that we're providing the finest education that you can receive anywhere here in the United States or perhaps even worldwide when it comes to understanding and living the principles of Ayurveda. And we'll talk more about that, and I'll be happy to take your questions about that. Now, when we talk about a quality education, we have to talk about where that comes from. It comes from, first and foremost, Dharma. An institution has to have the Dharma, meaning the purpose, the focus, to provide that education. It has to flow from above down and the inside out, not just of its founder, but of the entire institution, so that everyone feels that they are connected and that they are serving that greater purpose. So here at the college, the only reason that we get up in the morning and that we come to work is so that we can provide you with an excellent education. And all day long, that's really all we think about, whether it's at meetings to talk about how our students are doing, or whether it's at working on the curriculum in order to make things more clear. Everything that we do is to support you as a student, because that's our purpose, that's our Dharma. And that's where quality education begins. Now, it continues with developing an excellent curriculum, and that means that you have to take the classical knowledge of Ayurveda, and you have to be able to communicate it in a manner that fits this society, that fits this era of time, so that it is the most meaningful for individuals. So the curriculum that the students study here at the California College of Ayurveda comes from the classical texts of Ayurvedic medicine. And there are 6 classical texts. There's the Charaka Samhita, the Sushruta Samhita, the Ashtanga Hridayam, the Ashtanga Samgraha, Sarangadhara Samhita, and Madhava Nadana. And these classical texts are where the body of knowledge of Ayurveda lies. And teachers today go to those texts in order to understand the knowledge, and then they have to figure out how to communicate that in the best way possible to their students. And that really has been our focus for the last 23 years. Another focus has been on not simply teaching students to understand the knowledge of Ayurveda, and not simply teaching them to live the principles. Both of those are very, very important and ultimately, the foundation. But our focus is also on training the practitioners to become successful. Because if you learn the knowledge of Ayurveda, but you are unable to go out into your community and deliver that knowledge, then that's been a good experience for you, but it means that we have not fulfilled our Dharma. We do not fulfill our Dharma until you're actually successful out in your community delivering the knowledge of Ayurveda. So we're constantly reflecting on how you're doing, not only when you're a student, but also after you're a student. Everything that you will experience here at the college is a cohesive education. It means that all of the teachers, all of the staff are working together to provide you with that education. Rather than a hodgepodge of teachers coming in from the outside to deliver seminars, you have a stable, steady faculty that are constantly working toward your well-being, that is supporting you to achieve the goals that you have for your education. And of course, there is a focus on living Ayurveda, because if you're not living the principles of Ayurveda, how can you teach others? You have to be engaged in that journey yourself. This does not mean that you have to be perfect. No, not at all. None of us are perfectly implementing Ayurveda into our lives. Ayurveda teaches that the only time that you will perfectly implement Ayurveda into your life is at the moment of enlightenment. In other words, the path to implementing Ayurveda perfectly parallels your spiritual journey into understanding your higher self. And the term for perfect health in Ayurveda is swastha. And swastha means to be established in yourself, your higher self. And that's also the term that is used to mean perfect health. So that the path to perfect health and the path to enlightenment parallel one another. And along that way, we are all human beings, and we are all consciously working to implement Ayurveda more and more into our lives, as well as to become the best human being that we can do. And that is the journey that we all share together. Now, when you're here at the college, you'll be studying a wide range of subjects. You'll be studying the history, philosophy, mythology. You'll come to study Ayurvedic anatomy and physiology, which is the understanding of your constitution, your prakriti, your vikruti, the imbalances that are present in your constitution or in the energies of your body. You'll study Ayurvedic psychology very, very deeply. You'll study pathology, what goes wrong from an Ayurvedic perspective in the physiology of the body, and how does that lead to disease. And you're also going to learn how to reestablish balance by studying herbalism, diets, color therapy, aromatherapy, sound therapy, the use of all of your senses. The senses are the portals or gateways into body, mind, and consciousness. And so everything we take in through our five senses impacts how those doshas function within us. So we're going to learn that each person is unique and each person is individual. And so what's right for one person is not right for another. And that's true for how we use all five of our senses. So you're going to learn how to determine, first of all, what is harmonious for each person. And then you're going to learn about diet, herbs, aromas, sounds, mantras, all the different tools that we use in Ayurveda in order to help people to be well. So that when you practice as an Ayurvedic health counselor, you will be able to determine the prakriti, the constitution, the vikruti, the imbalance, the state of their digestion or agni, the overall state of ojas within them, which is their stability, and also the state of ama, which is toxicity within the body. And with that understanding, you'll be able to support them to implement the program into their lives in order to restore balance in the doshas, in order to remove ama, in order to build ojas, in order to use their senses properly and to live harmoniously in the world. And when we live harmoniously in the world, then we are able to express ourselves fully. And when we fully express ourselves, we express the divine within each of us. And that comes out as love. It comes out as kindness. It comes out as respect. It comes out as a gentle walk upon this earth with love and kindness for everyone that you meet. And you are able to fulfill your dharma, your personal reason for being here. We say that Ayurveda doesn't exist simply to keep people healthy so that they can live a long life so that they get to watch more movies and maybe have more experiences in the world, but rather Ayurveda exists in order to keep us healthy so that we can fulfill our spiritual work in the world. And that's really what Ayurveda exists for, and that's the role of the Ayurvedic health counselor. Now, you'll also have an opportunity to hone your diagnostic skills while you're at school as a counselor. You will be learning all about being able to diagnose individuals by understanding the shape of their face and their nose and their eyes and their lips and their teeth and their skin. And you're going to learn how to do a full evaluation on people and a full consultation on people. You'll also be introduced to Ayurvedic pulse diagnosis. You'll begin at the first level of learning that as a counselor. And tongue diagnosis. All of these tools that we use in Ayurveda, you use as an Ayurvedic health counselor. Now, in addition to all of that, you have the opportunity to take elective classes and to learn more in specialized areas if you choose to focus on those areas as an Ayurvedic health counselor. So for instance, you could become an Ayurvedic massage and body therapist, and you could learn all the body therapy treatments that are part of Ayurveda. You can learn how to do Ayurvedic massage called Abhyanga, Shirodhara, the oil onto the forehead, the herbal steam treatments, the Pinda Swedana with the boluses that are in a cotton gauze. They're usually rice and herbs, and they're used to massage the body. Ayurvedic facials and so many other beautiful treatments that if you have an interest in the body therapy side, you can study those here at the college through elective classes, through intensives. That you, even if you're studying from away from the college in our distance learning program, then you can come to the college for those electives. We also have an elective that you can take to become a teacher of Yoga Nidra, which is a beautiful technique. We have a program coming up. I teach that in other parts of the country as well, and there'll be a program in the Bahamas coming up in May. That's a 5-day intensive. You can also study to become an Ayurvedic yoga therapist. If you're a yoga teacher and you become an Ayurvedic health counselor, then you'll probably also want to take our Ayurvedic yoga therapy therapist training program, which is a 2-week intensive training program. You know, perhaps the most important thing about any education is the quality of the internship. And it's the internship that I feel brings out the best in a practitioner. Here at the California College of Ayurveda, you don't simply get credit for seeing your classmates in class. You don't get credit for just seeing students. You get credits for seeing the public. During your internship, you're going to be performing all of the actions that you perform as a practitioner out in the field, and that's the best training for becoming successful. Because if you're a successful intern, you're probably going to be a successful practitioner in your community. And so during your internship, we're going to train you to be able to see people in your community, and we're going to support you as you see them. And so every case is closely supervised by a trained supervisor here at the California College of Ayurveda who takes responsibility for the care that you're giving your patients during your internship program. So that's a very, very important part of the training program. Now, another very important part of your internship program is learning something that you're going to do really all the time for the rest of your life in your communities, and that is to educate your community. Your community needs to know what Ayurveda has to offer. When they do understand it, they want it. Ayurveda is so unique in its ability to take care of body, mind, and consciousness. In your internship, you will learn how to give a 6-week community-based education program in your community, 6 2-hour classes in your community. And this is a wonderful service for your community. It is a service, of course, that you can charge for after graduation. Also a wonderful way to continue to build your practice, which is really your relationship with your community, so that you become a leader in your community in terms of providing health and well-being guidance in your community. And so you will leave here with a well-developed program that you can immediately start teaching in your community. So between doing community-based education and one-on-one counseling, that's going to make up the bulk of what you do as a Ayurvedic health counselor. Now, Jeanette has recorded a few of your questions, so I want to talk about those a little bit. The first one is, with Ayurveda being the sister science to yoga, and it is, that's very accurate, do you also need to be certified in teaching yoga to be a successful Ayurvedic practitioner? No, not at all. In India, they are completely separate. The Vedic sciences have many faces to them. There's Ayurveda, there's yoga, there's Vedic astrology, there's Vastu, which is the art of architecture. And they're each different sciences, but they all complement one another. So when you're studying Ayurveda here at the college, you'll study yoga philosophy. In fact, you'll study the foundation of yoga philosophy, which is Samkhya philosophy. And you will study some from the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali as well. But in terms of being an asana teacher, a yoga asana teacher, meaning the exercises, the postures, no, you don't need to have that background in order to be an outstanding practitioner of Ayurvedic medicine. Those are completely different texts that are used in yoga, mainly the Yoga Sutras and the Hatha Yoga Pradipika. Now, if you're a yoga teacher and you want to deepen your knowledge and study Ayurveda and then integrate them together, that's a beautiful thing to do. And our Ayurvedic Yoga Therapist program they're like the thread that sews those two bodies of knowledge together. So you study to become a counselor, you study to become a yoga teacher, and then you take the Ayurvedic Yoga Therapy course, and that's a beautiful path to follow. All right. The next one says, I've been dealing with thyroid problems for 3 years now and just recently was diagnosed with Hashimoto's. I would love to work on putting it into remission. How can Ayurveda help with that? And can I get off the synthroid medicines using an Ayurvedic protocol? Well, now we're getting into the more clinical side of Ayurveda, and that's a question that would usually be asked of a clinical Ayurvedic specialist. And a clinical Ayurvedic specialist is the next level of education that our students receive, and then they go on to become Ayurvedic doctors as well. And so when you get into the higher training levels of Ayurveda, those practitioners can help you to manage thyroid disease and can also help you to overcome your challenges with Hashimoto's thyroiditis and perhaps help you to get off your medicines. And every case is different. An Ayurvedic practitioner has to first and foremost do a thorough evaluation with you to understand how this disease is uniquely expressing itself within you. Once they understand you as a unique individual and your disease as a unique condition expressing itself within you, then they will be able to put together a treatment plan in order to support you to be able to reach your full potential to heal yourself. So I would recommend that you have a full consultation with an Ayurvedic health practitioner. The next question is for the Marma course in July, and Marma is one of the body therapy electives that you can take. Do we need to find our own housing? Our school will be able to help you with all of that. I suggest that you take this question to one of our enrollment counselors, and they'll be able to support you with all your questions on the administrative side of how to participate in any of the electives that we have here at the college. And I do teach that 8-day elective on Marma therapy, so perhaps we will get to know each other at that point. Now, Marma is not part of the general curriculum of the program. It is an elective course that the body therapy students will take, and anyone can take those classes if they wish. The next question, in order to call yourself a Doctor of Ayurveda, what specific qualifications do you need? Well, all you need to do is to take our program from the beginning all the way through to the end to become a Doctor of Ayurveda. And the Doctor of Ayurveda program is state approved by the California College of Ayurveda. It's been reviewed by them and approved so that when you graduate, you can receive your certification as a Doctor of Ayurveda. Much like if you were to go to become a Doctor of Chiropractic, you would go to chiropractic school. And you would not need to study Western medicine. You would go to chiropractic school and become a Doctor of Chiropractic. When you finish Ayurvedic school and you go all the way through all the programs, then you become a Doctor of Ayurveda. So there is no additional schooling that is required. We will take you through your entire education, just like a chiropractic school will take you through its entire education. Now, of course, you will be studying for the rest of your life. A brand new chiropractor or brand new Ayurvedic doctor is not going to be as competent as one that has been practicing for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years study. Ayurveda is an incredible science, and it goes deeper and deeper and deeper the longer you study it. It goes deeper and deeper as you evolve as a human being as well. And so that is really never ending. Your study and your journey into Ayurveda is never ending. Now, the next question, how much do you focus on Sanskrit in your teaching? Well, we focus a lot on Sanskrit terminology. We want you to understand all the Sanskrit words. We want you to understand what they mean and how they're useful. where there are easy ways to translate it into an English term, we'll use that English term as the primary term, but you'll still learn all the Sanskrit terms. You'll learn their derivation as well, so that you can start to understand the roots, the prefixes, the suffixes, all of that. But you're not going to study the Devanagari script. In other words, you're not going to study the same alphabet that is used, for instance, in Hindi. So you're not going to study the Devanagari script. You're going to study the words, their meanings, and how they're useful for an Ayurvedic practitioner here. Just like in a school of Chinese medicine, you don't have to study Mandarin. You don't have to study reading it as a text. You do want to understand, though, the words and what they mean and how they are useful. So you'll have extensive training in Sanskrit terminology. The next question, I'm really interested in studying Ayurveda, but I'm moving to another country to support my parents. Time to give back. Can I do the whole program online? Almost the whole program. You can study either as an online student in the classroom. We call that Veda Web, meaning that you're broadcast directly into the classroom. You're in class on time. All our classes are going to be are recorded live. You can view them live, and you can also ask questions live. So the teacher sees you and you see the teacher. You're just like a student in the classroom. That's one of the ways students study at a distance. The other way is through more traditional distance learning, where you're doing reading and projects and online work, and you're assigned a teacher that oversees your education, and you meet with that master teacher on a regular basis. So we have two different ways of doing it. One is in the classroom, but at a distance, and the other one is more traditional distance learning. Now, you do need to come to the college for some intensives at the start of your internships. That's very important, because that's where we reinforce all the hands-on knowledge. That's where we reinforce learning the pulse, seeing so many different bodies, and doing the examination techniques. So there is some things that you do have to do here at the college, so you might have to do some traveling. But 95% of it, yes, can be done online. Another one's a similar question, I guess. I live outside California, and I'm interested in how far I can get with online courses to possibly become a counselor practitioner. You can do almost the entire program all the way through to becoming a doctor online, but each of your internships requires you to come here for certain intensives. So your counselor program has an intensive that you're going to have to be here for during your internship. I think it's 10 days. I'm not certain. And then there's the clinical intensive that you're going to want to come here for, which is perhaps another week. That's at the start of your internship for your clinical Ayurvedic specialist. And then another intensive at the start of your Ayurvedic doctor internship program. So you will have to come for certain intensive, but if you live outside the country, you don't have to worry about your visa issues. You'll be able to come as a visitor, and you can attend those intensives. Pardon me while I take a little sip of tea. Getting a little dry throat from talking so much with you. The last question is, how does the internship work for distance learners? Well, the internship is done in your own community if you're a distance learner. Of course, you can come here and you can work in our clinic. We have a wonderful community-based internship program. But if you're doing it in your community, then you're assigned a clinical supervisor that oversees all your cases, and no care is ever provided without the supervisor signing off on it. And the supervisor is meeting with you about that case on a regular basis. They keep a copy of the patient file at all times where they are. So you have your file and they have a copy of it. And we use, obviously, technology in order to allow us to have that type of real-time symbiosis between the practitioner and the supervisor. And so you're having regular meetings about every case with your supervisor. You're also attending some classes during your internship online, and that's with your entire group of students that are in the internship program with you and that you will have met during your intensives. And so certain subjects are taught online, certain discussions are taking place with all of the students who are in the internship program, but you will have your own personal supervisor that is overseeing every case, responsible for every case, and you're able to talk and communicate with them anytime that you need to, but there are some times when it's required, and you'll learn all about that when you are in your internship program. So that is the conclusion of today's program on becoming an Ayurvedic health counselor. I look forward to sharing more time with all of you as you continue your journeys. And if you choose to come here to school, it'll be a delight to get to know you better. I also want to let you know that on March 22nd, I'll be doing another Facebook Live program, and this one will be on managing the combination of Vata-Pitta imbalances. So it'll be a Vata-Pitta program, whether you have a Vata-Pitta constitution or a Vata-Pitta Vikriti, meaning a current imbalance in your body. I'll be doing the whole Facebook Live program on that combination, doshic combination. So that'll be taking place at 9 a.m. On Pacific time, and that'll be live. So if you'd like more information with studying at CCA, you can also leave your email in the comments, and one of our assistants will get back in touch with you. And I think that's about it for today. I just want to end with just a brief comment and then a short chant. I want you to know that if Ayurveda speaks to you in your heart, then that is your Dharma. If it is speaking with you and saying to you, this is how I am to be of service to humanity, then it's your Dharma. If you do not follow your Dharma, you will never have peace of mind. And you will never, if you don't have peace of mind, you won't have optimum health. In Ayurveda, we seek to live in harmony with our Dharma. We allow the Dharma to move through us. And that's true not just in Ayurveda, but it's true in life. You have to discover what your Dharma is. What is the way in which you are here to serve? And whatever way that is, whether you're a dancer, a singer, a doctor of medicine, an Ayurvedic doctor, an Ayurvedic health counselor, whatever your Dharma is, serve your Dharma. Serve it selflessly. Give everything you have to your Dharma and allow yourself to be used as a vehicle for the divine love and the divine light to move through you. And it will come through you, and it will be of the highest good if you surrender completely. So I'd like you to consider that as you consider your service and how you want to be of service to your community. And let's chant a short chant to Lord Dhanvantari, who is the divine healer in Ayurveda. And it's a very short chant. And Lord Dhanvantari is really a symbol of the healer that exists within you. It is said that Ayurveda cannot be taught without the blessings of the divine healer. Ayurveda cannot be learned without the blessings of the divine healer. And healing does not take place without those blessings. And Lord Dhanvantari is an image, a symbol. But any symbol of the divine healer is still Lord Dhanvantari. So the mantra goes like this: Om Dhanvantara Murtaye Namaha, which means that we're invoking in our hearts the form or the symbol of Lord Dhanvantari. I'll take one more sip because my throat's still dry. Om Dhanvantara Murtaye Namaha. 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 May the light of the divine healer bless you as you go out into the world. May it bring joy and love to your heart, peace to your mind, and well-being to your body. Many blessings to all of you as you continue your journey, wherever that journey may take you. Namaste.